Welcome everybody, we're back in the home counties, the land of the soft southern shandy drinking posh boys, or at least so you thought. This is part 2 of the worst places in southeast England. Number 10 on this list is Southampton. Now Southampton is the city of the Titanic, the Mayflower and the Spitfire aircraft, a major embarkation point for D-Day and the Battle of Agincourt. Southampton has a proud history. Sadly, it got bombed to shit in World War II, so it's not a pretty city anymore. I arrived early on a Saturday morning, so it's understandably quiet, but this meant I could have a good look around and film without pesky pedestrians getting in the way. Toys R Us closed in April 2018 in the UK. This means this building has been empty for at least 7 years at the time of my visit. A pretty sad state of affairs. Some odd sculptures here that to me look dystopian in a way, and the council building, which has a 1.6 rating on Google, looks almost like a prison. Most of the architecture in Southampton could be best described as functional. It was nice to see one fella out and about early in the morning picking cigarette butts off the floor, doing the Lord's work. Boy, these post-war architects really love their concrete. Ever seen a squirrel chase a seagull? You have now. This area is known as the Cultural Quarter, and this is the Sea City Museum, where you can learn all about the Titanic and other ships. Amongst the other big buildings on this street is the Mayflower Theatre here. Now, are you ready for some proper brutalist stuff? This is Wyndham Court, built between 1966 and 1969. It looks like it needs a good power wash and a scrub, but they're not allowed to because it's a Grade 2 listed building, believe it or not. Some people love this stuff, some people hate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Wow, it looks like something from a Judge Dredd comic. Sorry, I'm just going to continue with the brutalism porn for a few more seconds. Alright, how about we brighten things up a bit? Lovely. Oh, you prefer the brutalism? Well, here's some more then, just by the central station. This is Palmerston Park, which is a pretty nice park. Sadly, some spunk bubbles have been on the side the night before and couldn't be asked to walk 20 feet to the bin. What would Lord Palmerston think? It looked like Southampton was starting to wake up and people were getting out of their beds. Maybe they're heading to this lovely church. This is the Bargate area in the city centre. The people in Southampton, known as Sotonians, are very friendly. This chap took me for a cruise passenger and gave me a potted history of the city walls, absolutely free.
That used to join there. That was the walls of Southampton. All the way down. Yeah. And then underneath here is tunnels. Go out to the pirates, they used to hang people in here.
I hope the Sotonians don't decide to hang me after seeing this video. Yay, more concrete.
Sorry.
What? You will be, pal. Opposite the ancient town walls is the West Quay shopping centre, a bit of an unusual cantilevered model designed to look like ships. Some of the artwork in the area looked quite nice. Obviously this passing seagull didn't think so. The town walls were built in the 14th century after French raids on Southampton. Most of them are in reasonably good condition and you can walk around them. There are some historic buildings that are quite nice in the area as well. However, this section of the walls has been hijacked by homeless folk. Let's hope they can find some better shelter somewhere. There's a nice mural on Southampton here and its various roles within history, but after you've read it and then you take a step back, as we will do in a second, look down and see the rubbish on the floor, and then look up and you'll see this horrific tower block. Of course, someone had to name their pub the Titanic. I wonder how many gags the bartenders receive on sinking pints and icebergs and a slice. Thankfully, we don't stoop so low on this channel. If you feed the birds, you feed the rats. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. Now this is a thing of beauty. This is the Duke of Wellington pub, the building dating back to 1220. I like this part of Southampton. I can imagine in years gone by, this was a mighty fine town. But it can't stay nice forever. A return to awful buildings in the shape of the Leonardo Hotel. Down by the dock, the cruise liners are in town. This is an Indian restaurant, believe it or not. Some more views here of the city walls. And here by the dock, the grand buildings sit side by side with, let's say, functional buildings. It's all a bit of a mess, to be honest. I can't imagine cruise passengers from New York City are hugely impressed arriving into this. A helter-skelter car park, my favourite. Ocean Village is the modern area of Southampton with a marina and buildings meant to look like ships. And a McLaren in a hideous colour. Seriously, if you're going to spend all that money on a McLaren, why are you having it in lime flipping green? There, I didn't swear this time. Bit of a contrast here between Ocean Village and the building across the road. Southampton is an industrial city and there's a museum here that can give you more information on that. Now have a look at this. This looks like the "No" was graffitied onto the sign after it's put up, which would have meant place for homophobia. Surely that was an oversight? I read that St Mary's was one of the worst parts of town, so I headed up there through this nice neighbourhood and found the football stadium. This is Southampton legend Ted Bates waving to the industrial area on the River Itchen. Southampton FC, by the way, have just been relegated from the Premier League, being one of the worst teams in its history. Marching as one, back down to the Championship. This is St Mary's Church. This is actually where the football club was founded. And this here is meant to be the most dangerous park in Southampton, Hoglands Park. I didn't see anything untoward apart from a couple of kids running down a half pipe instead of skating down it. The walls and the building work going on behind it clearly gave me unsteady hands. It was about 9 AM now and the town was much busier. I went to check out West Quay Shopping Centre, or mall if you prefer that term. It was pretty busy with a large queue for the Lego shop. I'm not a mall person, but I can appreciate this is a good one. Southampton does have plenty of positives and a rich history, but with a high crime rate and some hideous buildings, it's in the top 10 worst places in southeast England. Y'all ready for this? Dartford. The town that spawned rock legends Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. Let's have a look around. This is the retail park on the edge of town, your usual stuff. The local glamour spot, which Mick Jagger probably didn't go to, is called Attic, and here's a church that Mick probably also didn't go to. The main park is called Central Park, with a pirate-themed play park called Buccaneer Bay. Don't worry, no kids are in the park, it was a school day. Another statue of Dartford's most famous son. Lots of green space here for a London satellite town. The town centre is pretty much average at best. Like Gravesend in the previous video, Dartford was a victim of blue water opening up just down the way. Although despite the very centre of London being only 20 miles away, it takes a minimum of 32 minutes to get there on the train. And the traffic around here, mostly due to the nearby Dartford crossing, can be an absolute nightmare. This is the Wat Tyler pub, named after the famous peasant who led a revolt against the king in medieval times. A drunk driver smashed into this 15th century pub in 2024, and I believe it's just reopened. Good prices for a glug of ale there. Dartford is at least 1,000 years old, but most of its history is looking kind of tatty now. The man who spray painted these post boxes gold has been ordered to do 100 hours of community service, and that's not a joke. You can Google it. Next time someone says you're not allowed to wave England's flags or Union Jacks in this country anymore, tell them to take a trip to Dartford. They're everywhere. Even the local Wetherspoons was adorned with them. So it's clearly not the most exciting high street, so in the spirit of Mick and Keith, let's see if some live music can cheer us up.
And why do you say you can't give me dreamless stars anyway? We have the world away, have the world away, we have the world away.
I don't know about you, but I feel even more depressed now. The shopping centre where there's closed down shops, there's pawn shops, there's pound shops, there's charity shops, and what have we got next? Oh, another closed down shop. Dartford isn't a fundamentally bad place, it just isn't a very good place. Most people here are better off commuting to London, so let's do what they do and jump on a train out of here. Well, we can't actually get the train to where we're going next because it doesn't have a train station, so via Portsmouth again, and we arrive into number 8, Gosport. Like Portsmouth, Gosport is a naval town, a quite industrial one, only without the amenities of Portsmouth. I had to look for stuff to do in Gosport, and this led me away from the town centre. Past these estates, you can't exactly walk along the riverfront, so you have to go up the main road. Eventually heading north, you reach a bridge over the river which takes you into barracks and to the Explosion Museum of Naval Firepower. The museum was closed, but there were still some exhibits outside on display. Time now to check out the town centre, and here's some advice if you're ever in this part of the world. Don't visit the town centre. It's drab, dull and depressing. The town hall is one of the ugliest buildings I've ever seen in the entire country. The Gosport Discovery Centre is the name they've given to this library to make it sound more exciting. Gosport has more than its fair share of closed down shops. It was about 6 p.m. on a sunny Friday afternoon, and the only people that were about were a few sitting outside this Wetherspoons on the left side of your screen right now. The sign here on the wall next to the church says, "You are loved," unlike the town hall. According to some sources, Gosport was originally known as God's Port, but it looks like God left this place some time ago. The old bus station here is awaiting demolition, along with the Tourist Information Centre. The bus station has been turned into a simple set of outdoor bus stops from where you can go to Fareham, and Fareham, and the Tourist Info Centre doesn't look like it's going to be reopened. Away from the town centre there are remnants of Gosport's past as well as the Submarine Museum, but unless you have a big interest in the Royal Navy, there's very little to recommend the place. Ah, Crawley. Creepy Crawley. I was very harsh on Crawley last time I reviewed it, but this time I didn't feel it's quite so bad. Maybe my expectations were lower. And probably also the fact that I was there on a lovely spring afternoon helped. Despite the good weather, let's be real here, Crawley is never going to win any beauty awards. Like most new towns, it was heavily built up in the post-war period that prioritised functionality over any aesthetic enjoyment. This is the main square in Crawley. This is Queen Square. Isn't she a beaut? The water fountains in the square are pretty much as joyous as it gets in the town centre. Crawley is handily located, roughly halfway between London and Brighton and very close to Gatwick Airport. Wow, Taco Bell's is closed down, as are many other shops in the town centre. It's not often you see a police box. This is a high street, part of the old London's Brighton Road and the most historic part of town, as reflected here by the buildings. Sadly, much of the high street isn't faring so well. I'm intrigued as to why this nightclub has a backward E at the end of evolve. Is it a deep psychological message about evolution being reversed, that we have peaked as a species and when we step through the doors of this nightclub, we return to Homo erectus beings and all we have left is the music and humanity living together in harmony? Nah, they probably just like the font. The reason the high street is failing is quite obvious. Just outside of town you have a retail outlet with a cineworld with 960 screens, 10 billion pieces of popcorn and 4 Transformers. £15.50 to watch a movie these days, ouch. Also in the retail park is the usual assortment of fast food places: McDonald's, Wagamama, Nando's, TGI Fridays, Five Guys and a Pizza Hut. Back in town the old post office building is still closed down and the old town hall is still boarded up. While the new town hall next door, this looks a lot better. Crawley, a place to inspire. Crawley, a place to do business. Crawley, a place to rip the contents out of the window like it's an advent calendar. The County Mall shopping centre is very 60s. The so-called bus station outside it offers no shelter whatsoever from the elements, and the train station, well, that is like one of the ugliest I've ever seen. Famous people from Crawley include Ramesh Ranganathan, who is on TV about 25 hours a day these days, Gareth Southgate, on paper the second most successful England football manager, yet somehow still disliked by just about everybody, and goth band The Cure. Sorry Crawley, no matter how much you laugh about it, hiding the tears in your eyes, your town is pretty darn depressing. Next up, number 6 is High Wycombe. I didn't know what to expect from High Wycombe. As a matter of fact, it hadn't been on my radar at all until it popped up on several different forums when I was researching worst towns in southeast England. High Wycombe has a reasonably modern shopping centre, which seems to be where most of the life was. Outside the shopping centre, it gets a bit grimy. Lots of street art here, which is a bit like sellotape and a leaking roof, I'm afraid. Here in Middle England, suburbia, the signs of urban decay are evident just about everywhere outside of the shopping centre. There's not a huge amount to do, but there is this art centre. The people from this centre are in fact the people responsible for the local street art. Believe it or not, this clinic here is actually in use. I've seen squats in better condition than this. I'm really not sure how this is supposed to inspire good health or to treat bad health. This is a recreational facility called Desbox, which is based in shopping containers, a little bit like the box parks in London, but most of the units were closed. You can kind of guess where the smoking area is. I don't know what happened here, but I imagine the car came off even worse. Almost the whole street was boarded up here. There's plenty of offices available if you want to work in High Wycombe. The Chiltern Taps looks like a decent spot. They've got lots of food to choose from, craft beer. They've got the sports on, and it's closed. Harsh AF message for Lisa here. I don't know how she's going to recover from that one. Ever seen the Sainsbury's that looks like a chode? You have now. Sometimes I don't even need to say anything, just let the images do the talking. It took me a while to find anything that I did like in High Wycombe, but eventually I did, in the name of the Air Raid Shelter Cafe and Tea Room, which, as you'd imagine, was decked out to suit its name. A cooler person than I might say a bomb going off would actually improve High Wycombe. Odd sculptures are the centrepiece of this square where the drunks congregate. A nice looking building from this angle. From this angle, slightly obscured by the trolley and the bin. The Polish shop here is doing better than any of the other shops around it. And the food bank around the corner, sadly, a sign of the times. The Chilterns Shopping Centre. This is one of the saddest sights I've encountered thus far on this trip. Take a quick walk through the shopping centre with me and you'll see why. The place is eerie. Almost every shop is closed down. The couple that were still operating seemed pointless. There were no customers. Nobody was even walking through. This shopping centre, it was built in the 80s and will be demolished at the end of 2025 to be converted into flats. It makes you wonder how many more shopping centres will be suffering the same fate in the near future. There's a nice church just in the centre of town where the lads are enjoying a nice tin of rocket fuel cider. This is Church Square, which seemed quite nice at first. High Wycombe is a quite historic town and this is how it might have looked at one point. Here's what it looks like today. I popped into a local art gallery in an old building with wooden beams in a roof and some old Wycombe artefacts on display. The people here were very nice and it makes me almost feel bad about slating High Wycombe so much. Almost. This is Buckinghamshire, so of course there is money. It just seems none of it is invested in the crime-ridden town centre. So I visited the park and the boating lake, which made me feel more at peace until it was time to come back into town. I had a hotel booked in Wickham that night for just 50 quid including breakfast, and I had wondered why it was so cheap. Well, now I knew the reason why. Number 5 and number 4, Chatham and Gillingham. Going to the Medway towns these days is never the best experience, but the day I went this was especially annoying as my new camera didn't seem to capture half of what I'd recorded. Still, I managed to salvage some and will use archive footage from the last time I went to these places to fill in the blanks. I'm lumping the two towns together as they sort of converge into one anyway. Chatham has more going on, but as we all well know, Gillingham is home to the best football team in all of the land. With this soothing music, Chatham High Street doesn't seem such a bad place. The actual experience is more like... Sorry, did I wake you up? Chatham just feels stressful. It's the land of the chavs. Seriously, the word chav comes from here. Look at all the stuff they sell in the shops, for goodness sake. Back in the day, this used to be a big Alders department store and now it's being demolished. Chatham has the worst statistics for antisocial behaviour for a medium-sized town in Kent, which is no mean feat. Chatham is undergoing a regeneration programme that seems to be taking quite some time. Chatham was a rich town until about the 80s when the dockyard closed, leading to mass unemployment. Around the same sort of time the Pentagon shopping centre was opened, and it doesn't seem to have been updated since then. There are still some nice buildings left in Chatham though. This is the Chatham Maritime Marina, which has obviously taken a lot of business away from the high street. I imagine the locals call this Costa del Medway or Medway Vegas or something equally hilarious. From the marina, I then walked to Gillingham and, needing a pee, found that some twant has smashed up the public toilet, which for me encapsulates Gillingham really. It really is a very rundown and rough place. This is the leisure area down by the river, the Strand. This is an outdoor pool which has been safeguarded against vandalism by razor wire and anti-climb paint on the walls. And this is the most beautiful site in Gillingham, Gillingham FC, the Priestfield Stadium. This is the high street, and to be honest, this is garbage. Literally there is garbage piled up. Litter and dog mess are a regular feature in the commercial and residential areas of Gillingham. Gillingham has a high crime rate. More alarmingly for the visitor, the violent crime rate is much higher than average. I'd recommend giving this place a swerve unless you come to the football. Actually, just give it a swerve anyway, to be honest. Number 3 is Aldershot, the home of the British Army. Welcome to Aldershot Garrison. We're starting off in North Camp on this short tour of Aldershot, or as the locals imaginatively call it, Aldershit. I skipped the military museum as it was too nice a day to be indoors, but you can see some stuff from the outside. I also checked out the Garrison Church, all very nice indeed, but what's the actual town like? Well, there's a nice new hospital up a hill called Hospital Hill, a horrific police station and magistrates court. Yikes. Brutalism there to rival Southampton. And Gosport for that matter. It must be a Hampshire thing, I'm guessing. Brutalism, ballet and burlesque. This is Princess Hall, the events venue. Cineworld and the Queen Hotel actually look quite nice alongside. The town has a large Gurkha population and they are celebrated in this park alongside the Parachute Regiment. Empire is another old school events venue. Union Yard here is a more modern retail space in the centre of town, but didn't seem to have much going on. We're now in town and this is where it starts to get depressing. The folk living next door to this black hole in the middle of town have hung their washing out on the fence to dry. About 4,000 Nepalese folk, settled Gurkhas and their families mostly, live in Aldershot. That's more than 10% of the population. This Buddhist temple is next door to the football stadium. The town is way past its best. Back in its glory days, squaddies used to come down from the barracks to drink in town and scrap with the locals. Now with camera phones, they can't even get away with that. This shop is offering TV repairs. I think they'd be better off concentrating on repairing their house. Many, in fact probably most of the businesses in town are Nepalese run these days, and the shops that are closed are being bought up by them. There's still one or two nice buildings left over, not many. The old arcade is a shadow of what it used to be, with the exception of the Highland collection, which refers to highlands in the Himalayas as opposed to highlands in Scotland. I do wonder what the town would be like if it weren't for the Nepalese. Would there be a town left at all? The Wellington Centre, the biggest shopping centre in town, pretty much dead on a Saturday afternoon. Aldershot isn't an especially horrible place. It doesn't feel malevolent despite the high crime rates. It just feels a bit rubbish. It looks rubbish. There's no atmosphere. It has been rated the worst town in the country earlier in 2025. I don't agree with that, obviously, but there really isn't a lot to recommend it. And you know things are bad when the Travelodge is the brightest building. Still, don't worry Aldershot, someone still loves you. Number 2 is Redhill, one I certainly didn't see coming, and I imagine you folk didn't either. Surrey is the most affluent county in England, and Redhill is its only entrant in this list. It really is the armpit of the county. We'll start with the only cool place in town, which is The Light. This place features bowling alleys, mini golf, cinema, all that kind of jazz. And this is pretty much the only good thing Redhill has going for it. The rest is a mixture of concrete, boredom and misery. A soulless commuter town where even the modern buildings look crap. Redhill has all the ambience of a wet Wednesday afternoon in a service station off the M4. The shopping centre would have looked trendy in 1972. You can see why they call this place Dead Hill. A couple of small churches can't lift the dread, and neither can the blue skies. I wonder how people even make it through winters in places like Redhill. This place makes Crawley look like Monte Carlo. Citizens' advice. Here's my advice. Don't come to Redhill. Misery piled upon misery. And the worst thing is, there's nothing red and there's no hill. Maybe we can take solace in the library upstairs. Looks alright. Nope, it's closed for a refurb. A lovely view of the high street from up here. Our mate here's got the right idea. Him on the right hand side. Get yourself a 3 litre bottle of cider and pretend to be somewhere else. The local park is small, but at least it's a respite from the grey and brown buildings. Redhill is close to London, the M25 and the Surrey Hills, so at the very least you can escape quite quickly. And the moment you've all been waiting for, number 1, welcome to Slough. Slough. Yeah, that's the one, Slough. Slough gets off to a bad start immediately just with the name, Slough. It sounds like a lethargic animal, like a sloth or a slug with no personality. I love Slough, says some joke at the train station. This town has all the charm you'd expect for a place that's 100 years old and grew up around the trading estate, one of Europe's largest in fact. Slough has higher than average salaries, low unemployment, so why does it look such a mess? It's grey and it's brown and it's mucky and it's smelly, and we haven't even got from the station to the town centre yet. Good grief, look at it. Welcome to Slough indeed. And this is by the train station, so people are walking past this every single day. It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see. Let's see what we see then. Okay. Yeah, your words aren't helping. About the best building in Slough is this church. Looks like someone's done a striptease outside of it. Forget Viva Las Vegas, Viva Slough. Well, at least they've tried to add a bit of colour, I guess. Queensmere Shopping Centre. Should we go and have a look inside? You can't, it's permanently closed. The Curve is a theatre that looks like a big metal slug. John Betjeman's poem, "Come friendly bombs and fall on Slough. It isn't fit for humans now. There isn't grass to graze a cow. Swarm over. Death." That poem seems befitting now, although when he published it, it was badly timed. It was 2 years prior to World War II, and Slough did indeed get heavily bombed. Bottles and tins of booze are discarded everywhere in abundance. The hard stuff too. I have tried to find out what this sculpture means, this white thing in the middle, but nobody seems to know nor care. Apparently Slough has the third most productive workforce in the country. Well, clearly that didn't extend to litter pickers and dustbin men. How can you ever attract people to a place like this? It seems like nobody cares. The high street here has been forgotten. The town has never been popular anyway. Why would it be when Windsor is 2 miles away, Eton about the same? London and Reading are both 20 miles away. Everybody works at the industrial estate or Heathrow or London or Reading. It's like Slough is there simply to provide workers. With a place as crap as Slough, it's no surprise that the man who discovered Uranus came from here. Remember that advert when somebody would scream, "Oh, Horlicks," like it is a swear word? That's because Horlicks is from Slough. Jerry Anderson invented Thunderbirds hoping he can get away from Slough in one. And the wheelie bin was invented in Slough. It's a shame they never taught their residents how to use one. Slough is a place where community is king, apparently. Doesn't look like litter picking is, though. Nothing to see here, folks, just some more... Well, no, there is nothing to see. They've even scrubbed out the signage. Slough Anti-Litter Society. Good luck with that. This is easily the most depressing shopping centre I have ever seen. Apart from that one in High Wycombe, maybe. Wow, look at this. It's Uranus. Imagine that, Uranus hanging from a ceiling in Slough. It's like SpongeBob meets 28 Days Later. Finally I found one, guys, a council litter picker. To be fair to the fella, he was doing his job very diligently, and I feel for him doing that all on his own. When comparing places, you can look at all the statistics you want, but with some it's just an atmosphere that makes you feel a certain way about a place. Slough felt dirty, uninviting, a place with no civic pride. Even the parks are full of garbage. It's said that Slough has the highest rate of homelessness outside of London. I didn't see a lot of homeless folk myself, but I saw a ton of litter. There was so much more than this as well. This is just a fraction of what I saw. I wish I could show you, when you are lonely and in darkness, the light of your own being. Beautiful words, but not very apt in Slough, I'm afraid, especially not next to this brown multi-storey car park. This is no longer the council offices. This whole building here is no longer the council offices. I tried to find the new address, but couldn't find it anywhere online. Maybe they've disappeared. That would explain why the litter doesn't get picked up. This is a bus station built 2013, being demolished 2025. And that's just about it for this video. I'm off for some industrial strength lager now. Stay tuned for more worse places from all the other regions of England, Scotland and Wales.